Two, one. I'm John Miglosh for the WDMA and the International Society for Strategic Marketing. Well, I ran across a couple of articles about how we need to have boundaries, ethical boundaries around our social media and around our, especially around our artificial intelligence. I don't know why we should. We don't have boundaries around our regular intelligence or our minimal marketing intelligence. But let's go on, okay? I ran across this really fun article in Times of Malta. Apparently there was a conference last month in Malta, and the keynote was Andrew Harvey, who said, it's probably fair to say that many outside the profession wouldn't put the words marketing and ethical in the same sentence. My thoughts exactly. We know that many consumers equate marketing with sharp practice and a sense of being parted from their money almost unwillingly. Not that unwillingly. Come on, it's a fair trade. Money for junk. Anyway, some is, some isn't. Taxes aren't, but there's not much marketing in that. Okay, so that wasn't a very interesting article besides that, but he did have that one quote. So I ran across this on Monday night this week. You won't get this kind of news just anywhere. Right? You just won't run across this unless you're tuning in every day. But apparently there's a really famous restaurant called Giant in Chicago. And Glad and their ad agency, FCB, decided to have a little fun, they thought. And they had a big meal with a bunch of social media influencers. Because remember I talked about that yesterday. I talked about how you might want to use influencers, and this was cool. So it was a free dinner. There was an agreement, a contract, and they were going to get paid a little bit for it, I think. But nobody read it. And they showed up, and they ate the meal, and they all had a lovely chit-chat time. And then at the end of the meal, it turned out that there were cameras in the centerpieces, and they... And they were told that everything that they ate was 3 days old, wrapped in Glad wrap. You can't make this stuff up. And wasn't it tasty? And aren't you glad we told you? And apparently, it's not that uncommon to prepare things days in advance. A lot of things. You can't just make everything right on the spot unless you're a Greek restaurant or a Chinese where they throw it right in the pot in front of you. I love that. Anyway, so people weren't all that excited. The incident exploded into a furor on social media, with journalists, insiders, and influencers weighing in, questioning the motives of the social media influencers. Now that's funny because it questioned the motives of the attendees, not Glad and FCB. and the influencer there says, we get a bad rap because there are some people that do take advantage of this system, but it's a source of income, and my personal brand is also my business. And so people got mad that they were in on this, and they really, I guess, weren't. And the guy says at the end, but I'm supposed to decide after a dinner with a contract I didn't have time to read that I'm going to sign away my likeness for a project I didn't consent to. This was questionably ethical and put a bad taste in my mouth. Double entendre there. Nobody complained about the food. They were supposed to be evaluating the new restaurant, and the restaurant got paid $10,000 on a night they're normally closed. So they said, "Hey, we don't care. We wrap stuff up as it is. We use Glad wrap. It's not our fault." Oh my goodness. They were tricked into doing work they didn't know they agreed to, but they did sign the contract. I'm not sure if this is unethical or not. I think it's hilarious. This is the problem. You have a little fun. We used to do things like, we called them dry tests. I had a client that did this often, and they'd write a book about, how vitamin supplements can lower your cholesterol. They didn't write the book. They just announced the book. And they'd mail it out to their mailing list, and they'd see how many orders they'd get. And it was like 8 to 12 weeks for delivery. So If they got enough orders, and it wasn't that many, it was a couple of hundred or maybe a couple thousand, but it was not a real big thing, then they would hire somebody to write it. What a great idea. See, that to me is very practical. Saves paper. We don't have to print a lot of stuff and waste somebody's time. And we find out if there's any demand. Apparently that's illegal now at some level. I'm not sure what. But, you know, there's so much going on. What was I reading over here? I guess I probably closed it. Over in Singapore, they were talking about how Twitter had shut down 70 million accounts. 70 million accounts, along with InfoWars. Because they were bots. Oh my goodness. You know, the world is crazy. We got bots all over. Anyway, so Taylor and Vincent were apologetic. I should have. This is a really good principle. We're going to boil it down and get some ethics out of this. I should have put myself in that position before any of that happened. We were reaching out to apologize to anyone who attended. They did give them $300. I think that was in the contract, and $1,000 if they agreed to let their face be shown on a commercial or something like that. So that would add up to more than, that's a pretty big restaurant, to more than the cost that they paid the restaurant. That was big bucks. Anyway, and then Cardes, I don't know who that, oh, he's a professor that they called up and asked about this, says, the incident comes down to ethics. If people can't be honest and transparent, this doesn't bode well for the food industry. Well, they did come clean at the end. Glad wrap. Crystal clear at the end. And no one was harmed. You know, no animals or people were harmed in this. I have a little trouble with getting indignant about this. Not only you get a free meal, you get paid $300 to come, and you're going to get the little surprise. And I'm sure there was some nervous laughter a little bit when they did the reveal. You know, it's hard to say. It's hard to say exactly. I would love to see the video of this. But anyway, like I said, you're not going to get this kind of info just anywhere. So then Forbes had an article, and this is just recently also. This is from today, I think. And it talks about how you need to have this ethical commitment. Consumers want to know that a brand cares about more than just profit. They want to see tangible evidence that a brand is contributing to the community around them. You know, the Piggly Wiggly down the street has fundraisers. Let's the kids roast hot dogs in the parking lot. You know, is that what she means? Or is it Tom's Shoes that, you know, destroys the shoe industries of little countries? Don't know. I don't know. Ethics is a hard thing. I have a master's in philosophy. I took a lot of ethics, and I was a contrarian. Now, here's a funny one. And she said, don't lie. Okay, back to activism with a commitment to ethics. In a vintage ad, Winston Cigarettes, for example, shows a glowing pregnant woman smoking a cigarette with the claim smoking causes low birth rate. Now, the funny part about this illustration, and I don't know this person at Forbes, but I'm going to find some more stuff. That is not a lie. I bet you 100% that smoking causes lower birth weight. And if you didn't want to get too big or have too much delivery problems in delivery, low birth rate might have some advantages. Now, since that time, it's been, you know, it's absolutely well known that low birth weight is bad for health for the kid ultimately all their life. And but it's not a lie it's a peculiar benefit. You know, easier delivery and maybe less trauma. I have no idea. But the point is, this is not the point. This is not untrue. It's true. It's true. Probably true. I mean, it would be one of the side effects, one of the bad consequences. Oh my gosh, I'm out of time. And then they were going to hear Ben & Jerry's marketing has rebranded its logo, the shape of the earth melting, a scoop of ice cream. Well, what if you don't believe in that? You know, it's possible that the earth is cooling. The Maunder minimum is coming back. That's what people say. I have a graph that shows scientific data that The sun is cooling off. Sunspots are going away. Anyway, ethics is complicated. We're going to take on more and see what the consumers think about ethics. Like and share. Share this with your friends. Make them think. I'm not going to tell them what to think. I'm going to tell them they need to think about this. I'm John Miglosh for the WDMA and the International